Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Good Money Education Show. We're so happy to be back. Today is Monday, and we'll love to hear from you and see where you're streaming from. We are happy to have you on the show. So, for all of our tribe members, we hope you had a wonderful weekend and we are wishing you a great week for starter. But yes, good morning, Mr. Rotimi. How are you today?
Yeah, good morning, Omotola. Thank you very much. Carry on, please. Thank you.
Okay, so today is a new day. Oh, sorry, and a new month. In a new month, and this is the second week in December. I hope that it has been all that you hope for it to be so far. Um, we're going to see if we have some education news headline before we dive into the topic of today. So 1 minute. Okay. So yes, one of the biggest headline right now. Oh, I see. Thank you. Yeah, it's about the student who died at Darwin's College and the situation surrounding it. And I know there's been a lot of outcry, a lot of people who have been speaking up against it and talking about how justice needs to be served. And everybody has a different version of what justice look like in terms of what happened. Yes, it wouldn't bring back this 12-year-old that died, but at least hopefully this can start a really needed conversation within the education system regarding bullying and so many other things that goes on that people just overlook, because I believe that education should not just be about academics. It should be the overall well-roundedness of a child. And academics is just one part of it, if we are being real. And so I'm hoping that beyond just the outcry, that hopefully that does not die down, and then they'll say that, oh, what's the word? We are moving on to something else, and then nothing will be done about it. But so far, the Lagos State have already shut down the school, and there are ongoing investigation, and hopefully, this is resolved in a way that at least gives some peace to the parent and the family that lost this child. Mr. Rotimi, do you have anything to add?
Um, well, basically, it's a reality that I think I would honestly say that gives gives us a moment of not just reflection but information, because there are many things that this is going to snowball us back into the conversation. We have a lot of people out there who are beginning to say some things that pretty much are not surprised to exist, but it just gives us the opportunity to face the things that should be fixed once and for all. Because today is bullying, tomorrow might be something else. And in that regard, I think that our goal or our role as a people needs to change drastically. And then it's a wake up call to all concerned: regulators, administrators, stakeholders, practitioners, educators, parents, and children. We all have a part to play, basically. That's my take on that.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes. And you're right about the fact that sometimes it's not just about bullying, but there are other things that will definitely rise up. So, yes, having the right policies in place is very critical going forward. Thank you for your contribution. And going on to the second headline, it said, man set ablaze for turning two students into yam in Ibadan. And so this is a really sad one, because honestly, after reading beyond just what the headline said, apparently this did not happen according to your state government, that no students were turned into yam, and this man was just killed for nothing basically. And apparently they said the man has some mental health challenges, and so, but because of this jungle justice system that we have in our country, which I was hoping would have died down, They just, and I'm like, it still baffles me how people have the audacity and willingness and they feel at peace burning somebody alive. I like it's beyond my, I don't even know how to comprehend it. I'm like, I'm like, where is the art? Like, no matter what the person has done, I don't think the justice was merited. And then also it was not confounded. They were not in no investigation. They just took the word and just went crazy. So, and that's why, we talked about this earlier about emotional intelligence and regulation. This is why it's so critical. And like even going back to the education system, that we don't just focus on academics alone. Because if these youths that did this have more sense in a way or have more emotional regulation, that this is an irrational action that they took and they should not have taken it. What are your thoughts, Mr. Rotimi?
Well, I think I agree with you. Um, I agree with you for many reasons. We sometimes look at some of these things and you just realize that, like I said, some fundamental issues need to be dealt with, and as a people, we need to you know make a change. We need to.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes,
We
it's
need to.
like I don't even know where we'll start. It's just it's so disheartening, and I'm like, God, but it is well. We'll keep moving on and hopefully pushing for more. Then the next headline is about jam, which I'm like, God, when will they stop coming up with so ridiculous and not so good headlines for them? It says jam to clear backlog of illegal admission, bars CBT centers from selling UTME e-pins. And so, according to this, after reading about it, apparently they said JAM said they discovered over 700,000 illegal admission by universities, colleges of education, polytechnics, and other related institutions in the country in Nigeria. And they said that this issue of illegal admission, that we want to put an halt to it. We want to clear the backlog and ensure that those of them who have been improperly admitted but have the minimum qualifications are rescued. We want to continue the campaign to discourage those who are committing such illegal action to stop. And they said that our campaign on cashless CBT centers, particularly during the registration exercise, still managed to exploit. We want to put a stop to that. But anyway, they went on and just moved to something else. But I'm like, this is a bit annoying to me, to be even being honest. Like, I don't even know, like from how many years ago? Is it from last year? Is it from this year? Is it from like that's the first question I have about this illegal stuff. And then also, if it's like something that's happened from 5 years, 6 years, or something up till now that has been piling up, why is this right now that they are now choosing to do that? Then beyond that, they're not even giving you what exactly are they going to do beyond just saying that we're going to clear it. How? If they've not been able to clear it up till now, what is changing? What has changed? And so those will be some of my own questions. And Mr. Rotimi, please, you can add your own too.
Yeah, no comments actually. To be honest, no comments. No comments.
Okay. Yeah. Moving on to the next one. I know we already touched on this one about the Dowen College shutdown, but yes, I think that's the right step in the right direction while investigation is going on. The only thing that came to my mind was like, okay, what about the other students? And then I know this is the end of the term and we're supposed to do an exam, but I guess in light of the seriousness of this issue, I think that can always be fixed. And I'm sure a lot of parents are reconsidering whether or not their children will return to that school. But I just hope that for those other students that they will hopefully be able to recover, and because it's not just about the academic stuff, but even emotionally too. It's a lot of things. So I'm hoping that there's counseling and their parents and students alike are really taking use of any mental health resources or practitioners they can find to help them process what has happened. But yes, and then we'll move on to the next one, which says, or do you have anything to say, Mr. Timmy, before I jump?
Well, I think you've said it all. But then it will be important for us to begin to have better communication and responsiveness While we see that the government is shutting down the school, I think that it's just almost like an action to please the populace. There needs to be communication and we need to know more of what to expect. So before you announce a shutdown shouldn't just be the only thing you announce. You understand? You don't just say, oh, we're waiting for investigation, but we need to see end-to-end profiling of your actions. Because if you shut down the school without the right kind of messaging, for example, should there be a feedback and a report that states the outcome and the school really is not in the way we've portrayed or is being portrayed? What happens? Is the government going to help with the image rebuilding of the school? Actions like this might mean that this school might never come back to existence, especially as a brand. It will take a lot of funding, it will take a lot of rebranding, it will take a lot because we are so sentimental in this part of the world. So when you just say shut down indefinitely, I hope they understand that they're also throwing out some people into unemployment. They're throwing out some people who probably have their children and they're not based in the, because all these schools is not all the students that live in the area where the school is hosted. You understand? So there are many factors to it. There has to be is there going to be an interim school taking over the students?
Exactly.
You know, it, but we're not acting, we're just acting sensational and impulsive. While
Exactly.
it looks like a good action, but
Still.
with the thoughtfulness of as a consultant, I'm thinking that it has to be end to end. So that when you make a proclamation of shut down, if there needs to be a comma after that word shut down, people need to know so that they are well
Exactly.
educated. Oh, this school is shut down indefinitely pending the outcome of the inquiries. And then, if they are fallible, these are the possible processes we are kicking in. We will take over the school interim and hand over the school to a charter management, or hand over to school to the school association they belong to, or a sister school will adopt the student. Because money has been spent, people are being owed. So, for example, if something happened in December or something happened in November ending, and the staffs have not been paid, if you shut down a school, they will likely also freeze the account. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So
Yes.
the students don't know what's going to happen when they complete the first term. The teachers don't know what's going to happen to their salary. The vendors being owed. So many. See, the school runs on an ecosystem. And so a
Absolutely.
pronouncement must be taken carefully. And it's because people don't want to get involved so much. The easiest thing to do is shut down. Let's please the people. It should be engaging. They should be talking every day. There should be reports so that people don't spread the thing. There should be restrictions too. Family is grieving. People are sharing pictures. People are saying all sorts. Or even family, should they still grant interviews so that it doesn't cause, you know what? There are many things that are wrong. Many.
Yes, I agree with you because yes, I also have felt like I'm like yes, I don't even know where to start because I have a mixed feeling about the whole way, and I agree with you. Everything you said is accurate because even if something is going on, like there should be like a step-by-step process. Because what happened to the lives of all the other students, like you said, the lives of the teachers, every other person connected to the school, even and so that is something that we're not thinking about. Because one of the questions that actually I've been thinking in my mind, but I've been afraid to speak out loud was like, wait, how can one person's life affect the life of so many in a way that we don't even know what the result or repercussion will be in the future? And I'm not saying that the life is not what anything. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm like, we have to stop reacting. We need to start responding to situation. I see a lot of reaction, not responding, and I think we need to really work on more of responding than reacting. But yes. Okay, our next headline says that Wike offers, I hope I pronounced it right, 15 million naira automatic employment to physically challenged PhD graduates. So this is an interesting one, and it's also brought up mixed feeling for me too. For me, so the first one was like one, like yes, it's a good thing, but I'm like, where is this 50 million coming from? And like this is from River State, right? I'm sure they also have issues with like not paying teachers and stuff like that and everything. So how come all of a sudden they're willing to give one person 50 million when there are thousands, I'm sure, of other people who may not necessarily have a PhD like he has gotten, and they're not doing anything to actually equip them to tell them that they are fully resourced irrespective of their physical challenge or disability. And so I'm just, and then there was nothing about, oh, we're going to try to create a scholarship for disabled children, individuals or adults who may want to pursue education. So I'm not saying that he doesn't, actually, I think he doesn't deserve the 50 million in automatic employment just because he was physically challenged and he got a PhD. I don't think that should be just the only reasons why somebody should be giving all of that. So, and then this also goes back to this issue of reacting, not responding. And so I'll just stop there and let Mr. Rotimi continue because I can go on and on.
I would say that to a large extent, we can't blame the governor. I don't think it's out of place. Knowing fully well that in government there are things called votes. So they vote expenditures for some things, and there are some certain situations that they can step in, almost like the way you have an executive order. They can actually do certain things. So the society is plagued with so many things. So it's difficult to say, oh, there are so many, so imagine you hear him say, oh, they are giving 50 million, 100 million, 200 million to disabled people to study or blah, blah, blah. Someone will say, oh, there's healthcare crisis. Why are you doing that? Coronavirus out there. Another person will say, oh, why would you spend money on health? Old people are dying anyways. They should spend money on agriculture. You can turn over that money in 3 months. So while all these are true, I think that the deeper yearnings of what you're trying to say, Dr. Motala, would be um, that we should move over from just sensational move, of doing things that build and boost our image rather than build and boost the economy and the society.
Yes,
Image
you're right.
boosting is good, but most times what happens with image boosting is that it is limited. And anything that is limited will eventually be limiting. So we need to recognize that, think about it. If, for example, apart from 50 million, we had lawmakers being encouraged to make laws towards the place of the disability or in the state to make provision for certain quota, you know. So you know that yes, because it's not, how many people can the governor give 50 million? However, it's not out of place for the 50 million. But I think that we need to move from image boosting across Nigeria, across the states, across the local government, to society building, to society boosting, to community boosting. Because then you are thinking of many, much more than one.
Absolutely. I think you definitely said it within a better way than I did. Because yes, yeah, that was just the thing that, yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Everything you said is correct. And that, yeah, thank you. All right. Moving on to our last one for today, I believe. It says Nigerian teacher gives scholarship to two students after participating in reality show. And so I know we talked about this earlier this year, I believe. There was a reality show that was focused on teacher, the first one ever in Nigeria, which was a good thing. And apparently, at the end of it, one of the what do you call it? One of the participants, um, out of I guess whatever was given to the person, decided to use it for scholarship to help two students to pay for their WIAC and other national examination. And so I think that was really incredible, and it shows that this person really care about education and teaching, and it was not just about like they're just doing it for the sake of doing it or because I don't have any other better job. And so that's really impressive that they're willing to do that and still be committed to the education system. And I hope that those students they use it as seed to go forth and also do something great in the um, community and in the world. Any thoughts, Mr. Rotimi?
No, actually, um, I'll pass on that.
Okay, awesome. So I think that brings us to the end of our news headline for today. And now I'll let Mr. Rotimi talk a bit about topic, and then we'll dive into it. Discover your word.
All right. So, like you said, the topic of today's conversation is discover your world, and we're moving not just to sound a bit inspirational or motivational, but it's almost like a precursor to so many things that we want to purposely do. I think that it's necessary and essential for us all to spend some more time as we, wrap up the year and go into a new year to do more of discovering our world. Our world is a big world. It's such a big place, such a dynamic place, such a needy place. And our ability to discover our world, positions us to be of better benefit to our world. So I'm looking forward to a conversation today where we need to even define what it means to say that this is our world. What does our world mean? That concept. And then what are the steps that we should take if we want to discover our world? What steps should be taken? you know. And then I'm thinking about it and I'm saying that what should be the plans? Knowing fully well there's a bit of description about our kind of world on the general before we go into the specifics. You know, things are out there, insecurity, education, cost of living, standard of living, so many things. What should be the disposition of an average educator, of a teacher, of a school, of a consultant, of a parent? How do we discover our world? What's the purpose? For what purpose? What's the advantage? Are there benefits when we discover our world? What should be the guiding point? Those are the things I would like us to talk about today. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Discover Your World. So, Dr. Motola, what is the concept world? What do we mean when we say your
Present.
world, my world?
You're breaking. Can you say that again? I'm sorry. I'm not sure whether it's my
So I
end
said,
or
what
your
does it
end.
mean when we refer to the word world? What does it mean when I say Dr. Motola's world? What's your world? What's my
See,
world?
I cannot hear. What's my word?
World,
Hello?
world, world. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, I can hear you
Yes,
now.
yes, I can hear you now. So what's your world? What's the concept of world?
Oh,
Oh,
okay, awesome.
okay, awesome.
So I'll say my
So I'll say
word
my
is
world
a combination
is
of
a
different
combination of
things.
different things.
I think
I think
we all have like
all
different version of our word, whatever that is to each person. But for me, I'll say my word revolves around my faith. It revolves around my family. It revolves around the purpose that I believe I'm made to accomplish on this earth. It revolves around relationship with people that I respect and love and honor. And so I think my world is full of different aspects and different people, and it's a combination of so many pieces. But when they all come together, it makes my world worth living. And so that will be my simple definition.
All right. So, what steps? I want us to explore the steps. What steps should we take? What steps should be taken to discover our world? In discovering our world, what are the steps?
So there are different steps that can lead to individuals discovering their words. So for instance, I'll use my own industry, the non-profit sector, to talk about this. So for instance, and this can relate to anyone. You don't have to be in non-profit or to for this to work for you. So one of the things I've noticed is that for people that go into the non-profit NGO world, they go because of they discover that word of non-NGO, that word of non-profit and doing good, that they want to start their non-profit through because of pain, either pain or purpose, and then passion. So that's how some people discover their word. And basically, for them, it's like, okay, this is the word I want to see. I want to create a world where children have enough food to eat, children have access to quality education, children have this. For some other people, their word revolves around the pain of maybe domestic violence and what they saw growing up or what they saw happening to other people. And so for them, they are trying to redefine their word to say that, you know what. And so depending on who you are and where you are, you can discover the step to discovering your word can either start from a place of pain, it can start from a place of passion, or it can start from a place of purpose. Like for some people, like they know their purpose early in life. And I'll give you an example of mine. When I was growing up, I used to live in a place like it's like a ghetto. That's basically Yemetu Ibadan. And so, and it used to pain me that out of like more than like 100 kids within that area, because we know each other, because it's just like that's just the way it was in those days before the technology and everybody's in front of their phone right now. Like I was one out of like three families that was able to afford to go to private school for primary school education, while every other person were going to public school. And then like strike was so rampant, and it just used to pain me that how come just because my parents couldn't afford just a little bit extra, I get to have this better experience than these other students. And I didn't have to add. And so my vision, my purpose, my word into my journey into the nonprofit world, which is now a big part of my word, came as a result of that pain, feeling the pain on behalf of those other children, and knowing that their life like trajectory couldn't be changed, couldn't go from good to bad just because of just that little difference in that regard. And so I think people the step they take. So I'll say if you're trying to discover your word, and it can be born out of pain, it can be born out of passion, it can be born out of a zeal or a purpose to say, you know what, I think I want to put my stake and make a difference in technology, in education, in agriculture, in fashion. And so that I will say is like look within yourself, look at your experience, examine it. And so it goes back to my favorite quote: an unexamined life is not worth living, right? So it's like this idea of what in your life so far is pushing you to go after whatever word it is that, you know, like I said, there are so many words that we can define within our word. So what is like review it, and then once you gain that clarity, then it's easier for you to now advance in that word, however you choose to define it. Thank you.
All right. As we were speaking, we had Olushola Olumide joined us.
Good
Welcome to.
morning.
Good morning, Rochelle. Good morning, Dr. Motala.
Good morning.
Nice
Good
to be
morning.
here this week. Yes.
Fantastic. So we're talking about discover your world, and we're looking at steps to discover our world. What
el-
is our world?
yes,
Um,
that's
what you say? Are you there?
Miss Olushola
hello.
is
Hello.
asking, yes.
Yes, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, hi. I said the issue of discovering your world is a product of visioning where you are heading to and understanding your purpose.
Miss Olushola, we can hear you again. Are you still there? Hello?
Okay. So I believe he's going to connect back with us. So still on the matter, I like to further, especially as we plan towards a new year. I think that we must get to be more informed and familiar with our world in terms of our social reality. Seems like sometimes when we actually champion causes, when we champion tasks and projects, we sometimes come across like we're not even aware of what is happening around us, within us. What's your take on that?
So if I hear this correctly, you're saying that um, how can we Can you repeat it again? Sorry, I missed out
So
in the
we
beginning.
sometimes plan
Hmm.
to do a lot of things.
Yes.
And when we plan and make our pursuits, it sometimes comes across like we are not even factoring the world where we live in. Our social reality seems to be far away from what we do. So the question is, what exactly is the reason for this, and why should we not focus on our own realities?
Yeah, I think sometimes like most people want to escape because like we're always thinking like, okay, like yeah, we are in a world and generation where we just want to escape the things that we don't want or these things that we don't like or the things that are not pleasant. And so because of that, we busy ourselves just with anything and everything that will not make us think, that will not make us feel, that will not make us actually like sit with ourselves to truly like reflect on what does this mean, like this particular situation or circumstance that I have within myself. And so I think that might be one reason why we get busy with project and we go from project to project without really pausing to reflect and think. And because of that, we end up going around in circles sometimes in the course of what we do. So that will be my take.
Okay. Olushola is back. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So, do you want to say something?
Yes, I was trying to talk about discovering our world. It's about envisioning where we are heading to. And like Dr. Motola said, it could come from the place of pain, or it could come from the place of pleasure. And I think one of the things that helps us discover where a sort of what in we are in is to be sincere. And of course, it takes courage to discover. You have to be able to embrace your own vulnerability. It's not enough to say, okay, this is what I want. You must realize where you are, what you need to do to get to where you are going. Then another thing that is very crucial is to be dissatisfied with anything that doesn't resonate with the kind of world you want to have. Yes, as long as you are satisfied, you won't move. You'll be contented, you are laid back, you relax. And one other thing I discovered is that the illusion is very real, and not too many people can really combat and overcome it. You know, at times we seem to be daydreaming, even when we're not closing our eyes. And you're like, oh, I wish this, I wish that, oh, I love this, I love that. But everything the person is doing is not in any way leading to what he or she is envisioning. So I think it takes courage and, of course, a dissatisfaction of your present situation. Until you get to where you are going, I think you shouldn't be satisfied. And of course, we need clarity. Like I've always said, that somebody is on motion does not mean that person has direction in life. So to discover, you need this mental, social, intellectual GPS, or else a person can be lost in the ocean of life. Yes, you are on a journey to discover actually, but if you don't have a sort of GPS to navigate, you spend more time, you spend more energy. In fact, if care is not taken, you may eventually not discover the world, but the person may be lost after so much energy has been dissipated. So that GPS goes a long way. It could be from a mentor, a guidance who tells you do this, do this, do that. And instead of just grouping in the dark, somebody giving you clarity can recover you years that will have been wasted. So I think it's key. Just like we have teachers teaching the pupils, teaching the students, is a sort of helping them to discover their world. And if somebody says, I think I'm okay, I wouldn't need to go to school, I don't need a teacher, I don't need a mentor, I don't need a guide, let me just be running around doing trial by error. That person can die trying to discover something that will never be discovered. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And so the question is this: can we equally say that that should be one of our go-to strategy as we plan for 2022, especially for those of us trying to do things within the human capital development space and education? You know, should we begin to focus on this? Because uh, a lot of times people don't know what to look forward to. They don't know what to plan for. They know how to plan. They know how to create goals. They know this all these elements. But what should they apply the knowledge of goal setting on? You know, and I think that it's embedded in discovering your world. And I want to hear Dr. Motola say that because I know that you've also said some statements in the past, and you've also come up with some processes that people can do or engage to be able to discover their world, right? Um, so, Dr. Motola, over to you.
Yes, thank you. So I'll start by saying that yes, one of the things that I have learned, and this was like a hard lesson too, is that all of us as we're discovering our what these are like places that we've not been to. Like, and you're right, people set goals, they have all of these things, that target that they want to meet. But one of the things that they forget, or that we forget to do, that I have had to learn the hard way, is like the role of like having mentors, having models, having mirrors to look at who have done what we want to do or something similar to that. And going, because that will cut in half all the BS of running around and not having clarity and things like that. And then it's not just about like gleaning from their knowledge or trying to pattern your life after them. No, but it's about the accountability piece, because the truth is, yes, we're in a knowledge economy, right, as people say. And but the thing is, sometimes over having so much knowledge can make you so paralyzed that you don't want to do anything or act, or you don't even know where to go, because you're like, I have 25 knowledge. Which one is number one? Which one is number two? And so I'll say, before I even talk about any other like thing, it's very critical to identify and look within and around you in your environment. And it doesn't have to be like your local environment, to say, okay, wait, where are the models? This can be coaches or advisors, to say, where are the models? Who has done what I'm trying to do? Who has something that aligns with my similar value that I can go to ask for help? Because a lot of us, we think that we have to do it by ourselves. That no, we're all trying to prove proud. We're all trying to prove that, oh, I'm an expert in this. But the truth is, no matter what, you still need those models, you still need those mentors, you still need those mirrors who can help you shorten. They used to say that, oh, experience is the best teacher. Other people's experience that you can glean from. Instead, something that took them 20 years, that if you choose to study them, if you choose to like let them lead you, what they had to suffer through and learn the hard way for 20 years, you can do it in 1 year. And so that would be the first thing I'll say, is like, sit your butt down and decide who like, and stop jumping up and down. That's something else I've noticed, is like this, a lot of us, we have this like what do you call it, shiny object syndromes, SOS, where, oh, this person said this coach is this, like, listen to one voice, or in your own case maybe two voices or three voices, but don't like you're doing 20 things. Like, this person said go to north, this one says go to south, this one says to west, and then at the end of the day, you are not moving anywhere. Like you said, you are having motion, but you're still stuck at the same place. And so, and that will be my first, is like, review this year, as we're in this year. What went well this year? What did not go well? Then also think about it. If you're being honest with yourself, if you have had a mentor, a guide, or someone to be under, to learn from, would you have achieved your goals faster? Would you have crushed some goals that you've not been able to crush up till now? And so those would be the first things that I will start with, is just that reflection, taking time to pause, to say, okay, what happened in 2021 against the goals I set the first day of the year to now? Where am I? And then what can move me faster? Who? It's not about how, it's who, not how. Who can help me? Who can move me further? and what is it going to take for me to have access to these people to help me get to where I need to go to. So I would say that will be the first foundation that I will suggest in going forward before any other thing, before any other technique is, because the truth is we are not just people in isolation. You need people. Like, they always say, oh, self-made person is a lie. Those segments, they have people around them. They have people around them. And one example that really made it more big for me is there's no everybody knows Will Smith, right? He's a big superstar Hollywood actor, right? And his book just came out recently, and I read it. I finished reading it last week, and it talked about how he was so grateful for the mentors, the models, and the mirrors when he was starting out, and how he was able to be that for his friends as well. And so I would say that's very critical, because if you're trying to do it alone, if you're like, you're going to get frustrated, you're going to get defeated by little failures. And then if you don't have those sounding board, those mentors, those models, those mirrors to hold you accountable, you are going to give up and negotiate your dream and die and allow the excuses to kill you from going forward, like kill your dream basically. And so I'll say for me, that will be the foundation. And like I said, I learned it the hard way, that you need those mentors, you need those models, you need those mirrors. And if you are able to actually find them and really, really listen and implement what they say, then the possibility are endless for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me though?
Yes, it's low, but we can hear you.
Your voice is far away.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you now.
All right. So I'm gonna ask Olushola this question because I think to help put in perspective what we're trying to say, that it's in three layers. The purpose of discovering our world, is number one to discover, but then at the same time, I think it's necessary that we all also have it at the back of our mind to also develop, you know, this world. So we have to discover the world, we have to develop the world, and we have to dominate the world. But where I would like Olushola to help us, spend time to open our eyes to is, how do we develop once we've discovered?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, you're talking about discovery, developing, and dominating. Well, I think it follows in that sequence. And I it is being said that when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse becomes inevitable. As Dr. Motola was talking, what came to my mind was this: why we need mentor, tutor, and whatever. If you have seen somebody packing firewood before, after packing the firewood, what they do is to tie it at both ends. When they tie it at both ends, it becomes easier to carry and put on one's head. So there is need to tidy up both ends of our life so that
Mr. Lushola, we cannot hear you.
talented. At the end of the day, that's why they say jack of all, master of none. So when you discover, part of developing is focus, ability to tidy up the ends so that it will not be loose or flabby, so that you not just be roaming around in the same spot, wasting time, energy, and resources. So when you discover, now you have to do all it takes. In fact, more energy to develop, because one thing is that somebody can even discover, if he or she is not intentional about developing uh, that kind of a world, expertise, that person will be a sort of a small fish in the ocean, and it's a matter of time the big fishes will swallow it. So the development is the development is what helps you to carve a niche for yourself. The development is what makes you a force to be reckoned with in your world. So don't forget that no matter who you are, and no matter the world you discover for yourself, you are not the only player in that world. There are numerous people in that world. So it's not enough to discover your world. Fine, it's a great step, and that is the beginning. After discovery, you have to develop. If you don't develop, you can't dominate. I tell you, that person will discover that yes, I have discovered what I want to do. However, I am not succeeding at the rate I wish to succeed, or I am not achieving at the rate I wish to achieve. And when you discover your field only to be subservient, I tell you, the pain on underachievement can even ruin somebody's life. So, as you discover, development is a must. I tell people, if at the beginning of the year you don't know what you want or where you are headed, please know what you don't want. Maybe that will help you to know what you want. So there are two things now. I don't even know the goals to set. I don't know how the year will be. I don't know what to work on. First of all, know what you don't want. When you know what you don't want, aha, it will begin to open your eyes to what you want. So as you discover, develop. Development is the precursor to dominating. Two way about it. You just have to develop what you read, what you watch, what you hear, the people you observe, who you flock. It goes a long way. Don't just be trotting up and down. You pick this one, you drop it. You pick another one, you drop it. You pick another one, you drop it. Why don't you be focused? Of course, in the course of doing that thing, some other aspect of your life will begin to grow also. That is one beautiful thing about self-development. When you begin to develop, it's called that some other things will be coming up. And like as we have said, the issue of mentoring, it goes a long way. Directly or indirectly, that guide helps you to get to where you are going in time. I tell people, clarity hasten your journey to achievement. So as you discover, develop, when you develop, automatically dominating will not be difficult. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. Not to take anyone back, I would like us to also go to Dr. Motula to also dwell on that again. But this time around, and as we develop, like Olushola said, developing our world, not just ourselves, developing our world. Because I recognize that there are things that we know and that we have become, things we've improved on ourselves. But if we don't develop our world to the same frequency, we might not be able to serve those things to the world that we are representing. Hence, the possibility of not having dominance. So, in developing the world, what are the indices and what should we ensure? Because I know that development is always characterized by design. You want to develop something, you have to design it to make it happen. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, Omoto.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, and you're absolutely right that yes, it's always development comes with design. And I think a lot of people, like we've talked about this again and again, and it goes back to that reflection. And I love what Mr. Lushala shared and what you two have also put into that is like, yes, you need to live by design, not by default. But a lot of us will live by default. And because of that, we are not able to develop as fast as we can, and we're not able to fully bring forth our potential to dominate whatever field or whatever world we choose to go into. And so for me, I'll start with saying, what do you like asking yourself, what do I really want? So, for instance, let's say somebody says, okay, I want to be very slim and in good shape and all of that, if that is what they want. Then when they examine where they have versus what they want, let's say the goal is that they have to lose 20 kg to get to that place, right? So they've decided that this is what I want, right? And then gradually they would have to now design their life to develop that new desire that they want to say, okay, I want this new body. I want to develop my body to be fit. I don't want to have to be like doing when I'm playing with my children and we're just playing for 2 minutes and they want to go into the park or things like that. Do you see? And so it starts with that, like asking yourself, what do I really want? Once you know what you want, then examine where you are versus that goal that you're setting or that thing that you want, and then now design it. It has to be by design. You cannot live by default. You cannot leave it to chance and say, okay, what will it take? What is the plan? So write the plan, and then from there now implement and start taking action. And like part of the plan might be get a coach. Part of the plan get into accountability, get a mentor, find friends who also have this similar goal. Let us hold each other accountable and all those kind of things in the way. And another thing is discipline. Discipline is so important. Like I am still on that journey when it comes to discipline. But one of my other favorite quotes, I have so many, right? Is discipline equals freedom. So for us to develop, for us to be able to discover our word, we have to be disciplined. We have to know, okay, yes, like discipline in who or what how we approach our word. And another part of it is also not leaving behind, oh, it's just my personality. The truth is like our personality is not permanent. So part of discovering our word might be you might need to try new things, go to new places, visit, connect with new people, network more and things like that. And so I'll say for each person, there's no one size fit all. That's just the truth. It has to be by design. So we can list everything and give you some suggestion. But yes, you might only need to pick three, four, five things or two things from it to create your own perfect design or perfect formula that will work for you. But I'll say yes, you need to know what you want. You need to s- dig into what you don't like, where you are versus where you want to be. Find people, find community to help you journey along, and then from there discipline yourself. Like keep your command to yourself, which is really hard. I will not like it's hard, but it is not impossible. It takes time. It's a muscle that you're trying to work, but a lot of us will give up too soon. Like we try day one, day two, day three, then day four. When we don't get the result that we expect, then we say, you know what, I'm not even going to bother. Like I don't see any results. My weight is still the same. My body is still like, and it's like, no, you don't know that change is already happening. It's like, think of the farmer, agriculture. Think of maize or cassava. When you plant it might take a while before it germinates out. But does that mean that it's not working? Does that mean that it's not growing? It is still growing. But a lot of us, we sort of like we abort our growth. We abort our development because we're not seeing those instant gratification. We're not seeing those quick things that we want. And because of that, we abort it and then we have to start all over again. And then because we're starting over again, we feel derailed. We feel like, oh, other people are way ahead of us without knowing how they started. Yes, they've invested in their own development and the foundation that they've built. And so I would say it still goes back to knowing what you want and then designing the life, designing that word that you want. So whatever you want your word to be, it has to be by design. It cannot be by default. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And because of time, I'd like also to chip in the third part, which is dominance. And one interesting thing I'd like us to say, and I've noticed about dominance, is this, that dominance actually does not happen in isolation, which a lot of times people have not realized that there's a degree of dominance that requires great amount of numbers. And that's why sometimes you have to also develop people and develop your world to a level that it can now create contrast for dominance. It's almost like you've not done your entire homework. If all you have is knowledge, skill, information, and ability, but you need to be able to build the numbers. Then the other aspect is for those who build and they get fatigue of building, either because of inconsistency of people, like you said, the attraction to shiny object syndrome, and all those things. Especially Olushola, I'd like him to talk a bit on that. How do we encourage individuals, coaches, mentors out there, trainers out there, practitioners out there, advocates who are trying to build, for example, the education sector? And it seems like they are not appreciated, it seems like things are not working, it seems like they're not getting there. And the journey is not just discovery. Discovery is just the step. The overall goal is dominance. What do you say to people like that?
Thank you. You started by saying when it comes to dominance, it doesn't happen in isolation. I concur 1,000%. For those who are not seeing the expected result now, I will tell them not to give up. You are work in progress. I categorize success into two, general and specific. And that has been a sort of rallying point for me that doesn't, I even look at myself at times, I hardly get discouraged on issues. Now, specific. Do you know that, I don't know whether that happens to other people, but as a coach and as a mentor, one of the things that has triggered so much growth in me as a person is talking to my mentees. There are challenges they bring on board ordinarily. If they didn't bring those challenges on board, I may not even know those challenges exist. Now, as I'm talking to them, I'm equally talking to myself. They set me thinking. They set me ablaze of a sort. And by the time we are done, they are grateful and like, woo, this is serious. They are learning, I'm equally learning. So that specific, I major it. Okay, I've applied for something now. I've gone through the process. Eventually, I say, oh, sorry, there are better candidates than you are. Specifically, I see myself a success because I've gone through those questions. I've gone through the form. I've applied. That application has stretched me. Now, I've been able to achieve that. The general success is that whether I'll be accepted or not. If I'm accepted, great. That means I went on both count, both specific and general. But where I am not accepted, that doesn't remove the fact that I have shifted. I am not who I used to be. I have grown in the process of that application. So once I settle that in my mind, even when I receive rejection, I just console myself with the fact that, see, now you know something you didn't know before. If you didn't go through this application, you might not have even thought about this thing, that this thing is possible. So I move on. So I will encourage them to keep growing, keep giving, keep helping others. At times, the people that is going to call on us that will bring about our breakthrough might be people who have attended to long ago. I had a very funny experience. One of my girls wanted to do a training in Ekiti. And because of our closeness, I can't tell her to even give me 1 naira. The vehicle I bought there was so slow, I spent over 6 hours getting to Ekiti, only to go and talk for 1 hour. After talking, I gave the student books. Then I sent some of the books to the schools around. Some of the core members, where are you serving? I'm serving in this school. Take this school, give it to your school owner. You take this book. Don't forget that it was on my own bill. I went. And I came back. It was about 2 months after I just received a call. Somebody said, hello, are you so and so? I said, yes. I read one of your books, so titled. How much? I mentioned, can I get 100 copies of that book? After I sent the 100 copies, the person called again. Can I get additional 150? I sent it. After that, the person called again. Can you come and do training for all my staff? And the person, academic and non-academics, the average over 100 staff. If I choose not to go and felt, well, okay, what am I going to gain in this journey? Nothing. And I chose not to attend to that because what I do for my mentees a lot is that moral support, I give them 100%. I say, you just tell me what you want. I will support you all the way. So at times, some of them say, this is the project I have, this is the project I have. Okay, where can I come in? We need you to do, I said, don't worry, I will come. And it's free of charge because I really want them
to be achievers. And by the virtue of where they are in life now, they don't really have what it takes to pay for big things. They can't pay. But then, because we've connected and they are part of my success, when they succeed, I support them all the way. And some of them are going on to give me referrals and say, okay, I know my mentor can be of help to you. Can you please contact him? So I will tell coaches, mentor, wherever you are, don't be discouraged. You may not see yourself that you are achieving now, but I tell you, you are achieving. You have to take root downward first before you can bear fruit upward. The process of taking root downward takes time and it takes pain. Taking roots down is beneath this nobody sees. Even you yourself. You get to the waters. Leaves begin to come out of your trees. Fruit begin, and suddenly it is when preparedness meets reality to be wasted. And it's not the function of witches and wizards. So keep doing what you are doing. Offer service, volunteer, showcase your skill. Don't worry. Just be documenting your own exploit. Whether somebody paid, somebody did not pay. I tell you, it's a matter of time. When your root eats water, you will bear fruit upward, which will be visible across the length and breadth of the globe. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Motola, final words on that as well.
Thank you, Mr. Olushola. My final patching shot is based on what Mr. Olushola said, which would be like, let me find the phrase. It's like a song in the raps, but I want to say it right. It says, stay down until it's time to come up. So, like, there's season to everything. And like Mr. Olushola has rightly said, there's a season to go down, to go deep, to go within, to draw out and discover all the full potential that you have within you. And once you can really be patient and really like nurture that season and don't discard it, don't belittle those days and fertilize it and weed out what you need to weed out. Like just like farming, you can learn so much with farming, and that will be the way I want you to look at it is like, yes, use that season to grow, to prune, to weed out, to get fertilizer, to all of those, to water yourself. And before you know it, when you shoot up, like your root is solid. No matter the wind or storm or whatever that will come your way, you still stand despite the storm. And so we are all rooting for you, and we know that you can do it. And we wish you success. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On that note, we come to the end of the show, and I believe you've learned one or two things. Please make sure you put them to practice and you share them with others. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, like our videos, share the videos. Tell someone about the Good Morning Education Show. We're here Mondays to Fridays, West African time, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And on weekends, we have the weekend special. We have on Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. West African time. Sunday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. West African time. Until we come your way tomorrow, we have one thing to say to you. We're going to say that at the count of 2. 1, 2.
It's always a great morning on the Good Morning Education Show.
Have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.